The wine glass shattered before I even understood why my hands were moving. 1 second, I was refilling champagne at table 7. The next, I was lunging across polished marble, my fingers closing around expensive Italian wool, yanking hard. Stay quiet and don't move. I didn't recognize my own voice. It came out low, urgent, like someone else had taken control of my body. The man I'd grabbed, Dante Moretti, though I didn't know his name yet, went rigid beneath my grip. His dark eyes snapped to mine, sharp as broken glass. That's when I saw the reflection. In the silver tray balanced on the bar, a man's hand, slipping inside his jacket, the unmistakable shape of a gun catching the chandelier light. Time fractured. Dante's jaw tightened. His hand moved to his waist, but he didn't stand, didn't turn. He trusted me, a complete stranger, for exactly 3 seconds. Then the world exploded. Gunfire cracked through Luciano's like thunder in a cathedral. Women screamed, tables overturned. I hit the floor hard, my knees slamming into cold tile as champagne rained down like glass confetti. Through the chaos, I saw him, the shooter, pressed against the kitchen entrance, gun raised, firing wild as men in black suits closed in from every direction. His face, I knew that face. Angelo Caruso, my ex-boyfriend's cousin, the one who used to hang around our neighborhood talking about family business like it was something noble. More shots. A body dropped 3 feet from where I crouched. Blood pooled across white marble, spreading like spilled wine. Then silence. Heavy. Suffocating. I couldn't breathe. Couldn't move. My hands were shaking so violently I had to press them against my chest to make it stop. That's when I felt it. The weight of his stare. Dante Moretti stood in the center of the wreckage, completely unharmed, his black suit barely wrinkled. Around him, men in tactical formation held guns, scanning for threats. But his eyes, cold, calculating, impossibly dark, were locked on me. He didn't blink, didn't speak, just watched me like I was a puzzle he needed to solve before deciding whether to frame it or burn it. One of his men moved toward me, gun still raised. My heart stopped. Dante lifted one hand, a single gesture, absolute authority. No one touches her. His voice cut through the room like a blade, final, unchallengeable. The man froze mid-step. Dante crossed the space between us in 4 long strides, his expensive shoes crunching over shattered glass. He crouched in front of me, close enough that I could see the faint scar tracing his jawline, smell the cedarwood and gunpowder clinging to his clothes. You saw him before my guards did. Not a question. An accusation wrapped in curiosity. How? I opened my mouth. Nothing came out. His head tilted slightly. Who are you? Elena, I whispered. Elena Rossi. I'm just a waitress. Something flickered in his expression. Too fast to read. Not anymore. They cleared the restaurant in under 10 minutes. I stayed pressed against the overturned table, my uniform soaked with champagne and something darker I refused to think about. Around me, men moved with military precision, checking bodies, barking orders into phones, wiping down surfaces like erasing evidence was muscle memory. No police sirens, no ambulances, just the low hum of controlled chaos and the metallic taste of fear coating my tongue. Up. A hand appeared in front of my face, not Dante's. This one belonged to a younger man with sharp cheekbones and eyes that looked like they'd seen too much too soon. Boss wants you in his office. I couldn't make my legs work. I need to go home. My shift. Your shift is over. His tone wasn't cruel, just factual, like he was explaining gravity. You're coming with us. I didn't do anything wrong. Exactly why you're still breathing. He hauled me up by my elbow, surprisingly gentle despite his grip. Let's keep it that way. He guided me past the carnage. I tried not to look at the bodies, 3 of them now, covered with white tablecloths that bloomed red at the edges. One of them was Angelo, his eyes still open, staring at nothing. I'd known him since high school, hated him, honestly. But seeing him like that, lifeless on expensive marble, made my stomach heave. Don't. The man beside me tightened his grip. You throw up at a crime scene, you contaminate evidence. Boss doesn't like complications. This isn't, my voice cracked. This isn't real. This can't be real. He almost smiled. Almost. Welcome to the deep end, Elena Rossi. We moved through a door I'd never noticed before, hidden behind a wine display. The back corridor smelled like cigars and old money. My escort knocked twice on a heavy wooden door, then pushed it open without waiting for an answer. Dante sat behind a massive desk, jacket discarded, sleeves rolled to his elbows. He was on the phone, speaking rapid Italian that sounded more like threats than conversation. When he saw me, he switched to English mid-sentence. Handle it, I don't care how. He ended the call, tossed the phone onto the desk. Sit. I didn't move. His expression didn't change, but something in the room shifted. Danger, coiled and patient. I don't repeat myself, Elena. My legs obeyed before my brain caught up. I sank into the leather chair across from him, my hands knotted in my lap. For a long moment, he just studied me, taking inventory, searching for something I couldn't name. Finally he leaned back. You recognize the shooter? Not a question. He already knew. Angelo Caruso, I whispered. He's from my neighborhood, Bensonhurst. His cousin was. I stopped, swallowed hard. We dated, briefly. 2 years ago. And you knew he was connected to the Sicilians. I knew he was involved in something. I didn't know it was this. Dante's fingers drummed once against the desk. A slow, deliberate rhythm. You just saved my life, Elena Rossi. His voice dropped lower, softer, infinitely more dangerous. Now I need to decide what to do with you. I won't tell anyone what I saw. The words tumbled out before I could stop them. I swear. I'll forget this whole night. I'll quit. I'll move. You'll do nothing. Dante stood, moving around the desk with predatory grace. Because the Sicilians already know you're involved. The moment Angelo missed his shot, you became a target. My blood turned to ice. What? You grabbed me, in front of witnesses. He stopped directly in front of my chair, close enough that I had to tilt my head back to meet his eyes. Every family in New York will have your name by morning. They'll want to know who you are, who you work for, what you saw. I don't work for anyone. They won't believe that. He crouched down, bringing himself level with me. This close, I could see gold flecks in his dark irises, could see the exhaustion he hid behind that controlled exterior. The Sicilians will assume you're mine, my informant, my plant, and they'll come for you to send me a message. The room spun. You're saying I'm going to die because I saved your life? I'm saying you're going to live because you saved mine. His jaw tightened. If you cooperate. Cooperate how? Answer my questions. Honestly, completely. He stood, pacing now, hands in his pockets. How did you see Angelo when 6 trained guards didn't? I pressed my palms against my thighs, trying to stop the shaking. I was carrying a tray, silver. It reflected the light from the bar. I saw his hand move just a shadow at first, but I recognized the motion. My ex used to practice drawing his gun in the mirror, thought it made him look dangerous. Bitter laugh. Guess he was right. Dante stopped pacing. Your ex. The cousin. Tell me about him. Marco Caruso, small-time dealer. Thought he was connected to something bigger. Always talking about respect and family honor like he was in a movie. My voice hardened. I left him when I found out he was using his little sister's college fund to pay gambling debts. Where is he now? Dead. The word came out flat. Empty. Overdose. 6 months ago. At least that's what the cops said. Dante's expression shifted. Recognition. The Caruso overdoses. 3 in 2 months. I remember. He moved back to his desk, pulling out a tablet, swiping through files. The Sicilians have been cleaning house, eliminating loose ends before their push into Manhattan. Push? I echoed. He looked up, studied me, making some calculation I couldn't follow. You really are just a waitress, aren't you? It wasn't condescending. More like, surprise. You stumbled into a war zone and had no idea you were standing on a battlefield. I just wanted to pay my rent, I whispered. For the first time, something almost human crossed his face, almost like sympathy. That's not your life anymore. He set down the tablet, folded his hands. Now you owe me a debt, Elena, and I'm going to collect. What kind of debt? My voice came out steadier than I felt. Dante leaned against his desk, arms crossed, studying me like I was a chess piece he hadn't decided how to move yet. Protection. In exchange for obedience. That's not a debt, that's prison. Prison would be safer. He didn't smile, but something dark flickered in his eyes. The Sicilians won't stop until they understand what happened tonight. They'll tear apart your life looking for answers. Your apartment. Your family. Your friends. Anyone you've ever spoken to becomes leverage. My chest tightened. I don't have family, just my grandmother in Queens, and she doesn't even know where I work. She will by tomorrow. He pushed off the desk. Address. 47 Maple Avenue. Apartment 3B. She takes the Q23 bus to church every Sunday morning. Stops at Rossetti's bakery for cannoli on the way home. The air left my lungs. How do you? I know everything about everyone in my territory. His tone was matter of fact, terrifying in its casualness. Your grandmother, Rosa, 73. Widow. Raised you after your parents died in a car accident when you were 8. You send her $300 every month even though you can barely afford your own rent. Tears burned behind my eyes. I refused to let them fall. If you want her safe, Dante continued, you stay where I can protect you. You do what I say. You trust no one except the people I tell you to trust, and you never, ever try to run. For how long? Until the threat is neutralized. He moved to a cabinet, poured 2 glasses of something amber, offered me one. Or until you're no longer useful. I didn't take the glass. What does that mean? It means I'm deciding whether you're an asset or a liability. He set both glasses down. Right now, you're somewhere in between. And if I refuse, then I put you on the street with a target on your back and let nature take its course. No emotion, just fact. The Sicilians will find you within 48 hours. They'll torture you for information you don't have, and when they realize you can't give them anything useful, they'll kill you slowly to make a point. My hands clenched into fists. You're a monster. Yes. He didn't deny it, didn't defend himself. But I'm a monster who keeps his people alive. Choose, Elena. My protection, or your pride. I wanted to scream. To fight. To tell him exactly where he could shove his protection. But I thought of Nonna Rosa. Of her tiny apartment filled with photos and rosaries and the smell of Sunday gravy. Of how she'd never survive losing me the way she lost my parents. Fine. The word tasted like ash. I'll stay, I'll cooperate, but I'm not your prisoner. Dante picked up one of the glasses, took a slow sip. Keep telling yourself that. He gestured to the door. The same man from earlier my escort appeared like he'd been waiting. Leo will take you to your new accommodations. Dante returned to his desk, already dismissing me. Welcome to the family, Elena. Dante's mansion wasn't what I expected. I'd imagined something cold, sterile. All marble and mirrors and surfaces you couldn't leave fingerprints on. Instead, Leo drove me through iron gates to a sprawling estate that looked like it had been transplanted from Tuscany. Warm stone, ivy climbing the walls, gardens that probably cost more to maintain than I made in a year. Boss grew up in Sicily, Leo said, like he'd read my mind. Rebuilt his grandfather's villa here, brick by brick. How sentimental, I muttered. He almost smiled. You've got a mouth on you. That's either going to save your life or end it. Haven't decided which yet. Inside, the house smelled like espresso and lemon oil. Expensive. Lived in. A staff of 4 moved through the halls like ghosts, seeing everything, saying nothing. Leo led me upstairs to a bedroom that was bigger than my entire apartment. Floor-to-ceiling windows overlooked the gardens. A 4-poster bed with linens that probably cost more than my car. My own bathroom with heated floors and a tub deep enough to drown in. You're free to move around the house, Leo said. But don't go outside without an escort. Don't use your phone. Don't contact anyone. Guards rotate every 6 hours. You'll get used to them. This is insane. I turned on him. You can't just keep me here. A small sound interrupted us. A child's laugh. I looked past Leo's shoulder and saw her. A little girl, maybe 7 or 8, with dark curls and enormous brown eyes. She stood in the hallway, wearing pajamas covered in stars, holding a stuffed rabbit that had seen better days. She didn't speak, just stared at me with curious intensity. That's Isabella, Leo said softly. Something in his voice changed, gentled. Boss's niece. She doesn't talk, hasn't since her parents died 3 years ago. My heart cracked. I'm sorry. I didn't. Isabella walked straight past Leo and stopped in front of me. She held up the rabbit, offering it like a gift. I knelt down slowly. Hi, Isabella. I'm Elena. Is this your friend? She nodded, solemn. Then did something unexpected. She reached out and touched my hand. Just once. A question. I think she likes you, Leo said, sounding genuinely surprised. She doesn't usually warm up to strangers. Isabella tugged my hand, pulling me toward the door. Insistent. She wants to show you something, a voice said from the doorway. Dante. He stood there in jeans and a plain black shirt, looking nothing like the calculated predator from his office. Just a man, tired, watching his niece with something almost soft in his expression. Go ahead, he said to me. She doesn't offer tours to just anyone. Isabella pulled harder. I let her lead me, Leo trailing behind, leaving Dante alone in the hallway. But I felt his eyes on me the entire way down the corridor. And for the first time since that gunshot, I wondered if maybe, just maybe, there was more to Dante Moretti than blood and silence. Isabella's tour ended in the library. Floor-to-ceiling bookshelves, a fireplace big enough to stand in, leather chairs positioned near windows that overlooked the city lights twinkling in the distance. She pointed to a specific shelf, children's books, worn and loved, then to a reading nook with cushions and blankets. This was her place, her sanctuary. She climbed into the nook, patted the space beside her. Invitation. Saturday. She handed me a book, The Secret Garden, and curled against my side like she'd known me forever. You want me to read to you? She nodded. So I did. My voice filling the quiet space, Isabella's breathing slow and steady against my ribs. Leo stationed himself by the door, keeping watch, but his expression had softened too. I was mid-chapter when I heard the voices. Angry, heated, coming from down the hall. Can't trust anyone right now, Dante, not after tonight. A man's voice. Sharp, frustrated. I trust my instincts, Marco, always have. Dante, calmer, but with an edge. Your instincts almost got you killed. If that girl hadn't. That girl saw what 6 trained guards missed. Either she's the luckiest waitress in New York, or she's playing a deeper game than any of us realized. My blood froze. He still suspected me. So what's the play? Marco again. Keep her close? Use her as bait? I keep her alive. Figure out the rest as we go. Footsteps, coming closer. There's a mole, Marco. Someone inside fed the Sicilians my schedule, knew exactly where I'd be, when I'd be vulnerable. Until I find them, no one is above suspicion. Not even me. A pause. Heavy. Dangerous. Especially not you, little brother. The footsteps stopped just outside the library. I kept reading, kept my voice steady, but my heart hammered against my ribs. Isabella had fallen asleep. I didn't move, didn't breathe. Leo straightened, hand moving to his weapon. Then Dante appeared in the doorway. His eyes found me immediately, found Isabella curled against me, peaceful in a way I suspected was rare. His entire expression shifted, the mask cracking. Marco stood behind him, younger, sharper, radiating barely contained tension. He looked at me like I was a bomb waiting to explode. She's asleep, I whispered. I can carry her. Stay. Dante moved forward, impossibly quiet for a man his size. He lifted Isabella from my arms with practiced ease, cradling her like she was made of glass. She stirred, mumbled something against his shoulder, but didn't wake. I'll put her to bed, he said to Leo. Then to me, quieter. We need to talk. My study. 20 minutes. He left before I could respond, Marco trailing after him with one last suspicious glance in my direction. Leo exhaled slowly. You heard, didn't you? I heard. Then, you know. He met my eyes. Dante doesn't trust easily, and right now he doesn't trust anyone, not even family. What about you? I asked. Do you trust me? Leo considered the question. I trust that you love your grandmother enough to stay alive. That'll do for now. He gestured toward the door. Come on, boss doesn't like to be kept waiting. I stood, legs unsteady, knowing that whatever happened in that study would decide whether I survived the night or became just another body covered in white linen. 3 weeks in Dante's world, and I still didn't belong. But I was learning to pretend. Mornings started with Isabella. She'd slip into my room before dawn, rabbit tucked under one arm, and climb into bed beside me. No words, just presence. We'd watch the sun rise over the gardens until her tutor arrived at 8. Then I'd wander the mansion like a ghost. The staff kept their distance, polite, professional, but always watching, always reporting back. I could feel Dante's eyes on me even when he wasn't in the room. He left early most days. Business, Leo called it. I called it blood money and bodies. But he always came back. Usually around dinner. Sometimes with Marco, who still looked at me like I was a snake wearing human skin. Other times alone, shoulders tight, jaw set, carrying tension like armor. I started cooking. Not because anyone asked, the chef made that clear I was intruding, but because I needed something to do with my hands. Something normal. The first time Dante walked into the kitchen and found me making pasta from scratch, he stopped cold in the doorway. You cook? Like it was the strangest thing he'd ever witnessed. My grandmother taught me. I didn't look up from kneading dough. She said a woman who can feed people has power they can't take away. He moved closer, watching my hands work. What are you making? Cacio e pepe, Isabella requested it. I dusted flour off my fingers. Apparently she remembers her mother making it. Something flickered across his face. Pain, maybe. Or memory. My sister made it every Sunday. His voice dropped. Before she died. Before Isabella stopped speaking. Before Dante became this. I didn't push. Just shaped the dough, and pretended not to notice when he stayed, leaning against the counter, watching me cook like it was the most fascinating thing in the world. It became routine. He'd come home, find me in the kitchen or the library or Isabella's room, never saying much, just there, present in a way that felt deliberate, like he was studying me, trying to solve an equation that didn't add up. "You're different from what I expected," he said one night, appearing in the library doorway while I read to Isabella. "What did you expect? Fear, resentment, maybe an escape attempt by now." He leaned against the frame. "Instead, you're making pasta and reading bedtime stories like you've been here forever. Would you prefer I be difficult?" His lips almost curved. "Almost. I'd prefer to understand you. Maybe there's nothing complicated to understand." I turned the page, keeping my voice soft so Isabella wouldn't wake. "Maybe I'm exactly what I look like. A girl trying to survive." "No." He pushed off the doorframe, started to leave, then paused. "You're something else entirely. I just haven't figured out what yet." He disappeared into the shadows, and I sat there, heart racing, wondering the same thing about him. "She's playing you, Dante." The voice belonged to Vincent Ricci, old money, older grudges. He sat 3 seats down from Dante at the long dining table, wine-drunk and bold in the way men get when they forget who they're talking to. I'd been serving coffee, invisible, the way I was supposed to be. "Careful, Vincent." Marco's warning came quiet, dangerous. But Vincent was past careful. "A waitress just happens to save your life? Please." The Sicilians planted her. "It's obvious. You're keeping a viper in your house and calling it protection." My hands trembled. Coffee sloshed against expensive china. "She's standing right there," someone muttered. "Uncomfortable. Show some respect." "Respect?" Vincent laughed. "Cruel. For a girl who probably spread her legs for Angelo Caruso before ratting him out to save her own skin?" The room went silent. I set down the coffee pot before I dropped it. My face burned, every eye on me, judging, calculating, believing. I opened my mouth to defend myself, to scream, to something. The wineglass exploded. Dante had crushed it in his fist. Blood dripped from his palm onto white linen, spreading like accusation. He stood slowly, deliberately. The temperature in the room plummeted. "Say that again." His voice came out soft, lethal. "I want to make sure I heard you correctly." Vincent paled. "Dante, I didn't mean. You questioned her honor at my table, in my house." Dante moved around the table with predatory grace. "You insinuated that I'm fool enough to keep a traitor under my roof, that I can't tell the difference between loyalty and deception. You were just leaving." Dante stopped behind Vincent's chair, leaned down, whispered something in his ear that made the man's face drain of color. Vincent stood, shaking. "My apologies, to you, and to the girl. Her name is Elena." Dante's hand clamped down on Vincent's shoulder, squeezing. "And she's not your concern. She's not anyone's concern except mine. Is that understood?" Silence. Then nods. Murmured agreement. Vincent fled. 2 others followed. The dinner dissolved into awkward small talk that felt like performance. I stood frozen by the sideboard, unable to move, unable to breathe. Dante turned, found my eyes across the room. Something passed between us, acknowledgement, maybe, or warning. Then he addressed the remaining guests. "Anyone else have questions about my judgment?" No one spoke. "Good." He picked up his napkin, wiped blood from his hand like nothing had happened. "Elena, you're dismissed. Thank you for the coffee." I didn't remember walking to my room, didn't remember closing the door, but I remembered the way he'd said my name, like it mattered, like I mattered, and that terrified me more than anything Vincent Ricci could have said. I found Dante in Isabella's room that night. He sat on the edge of her bed, watching her sleep, shoulders curved under weight I couldn't see, vulnerable in a way he'd never let anyone else witness. "She had a nightmare," he said without turning. "Woke up screaming. I heard it from my office." I moved closer, quiet. "Does that happen often?" "Every few weeks. She dreams about the day her mother died, watches it happen over and over." His voice cracked, just slightly, and she can't even tell me what she sees. I sat in the chair beside the bed. "Tell me what happened, if you want." For a long moment, he didn't answer, just watched Isabella's chest rise and fall, peaceful now. "My sister Juliana was married to one of my captains, Antonio, good man, loyal, or so I thought." He leaned forward, elbows on knees. "Turns out he'd been feeding information to the Calabrians for months. When I found out, I ordered him brought in to answer for his betrayal." He stopped, swallowed hard. He knew he was caught, so he went home first, put a gun to Juliana's head while Isabella watched. Said if he couldn't have his family, neither could I. His hands clenched into fists. I got there too late. Found Isabella hiding in the closet, covered in her mother's blood. She hasn't spoken since. Dante. I reached out, stopped myself. I'm so sorry. Everyone told me to send her away. To boarding school, therapy abroad, somewhere she wouldn't be a reminder. He finally looked at me, eyes red-rimmed, devastated. But she's all I have left of Juliana. I won't lose her too. You won't. I didn't know where the certainty came from. She's strong, she's just… Finding her voice again. She laughs with you. His gaze intensified. I hear it through the walls. Her laughter. I haven't heard that sound in 3 years, Elena. You brought it back in 3 weeks. I just read her stories. No. He stood. Moved to the window. You see her. Really see her. Not the broken girl everyone else whispers about. You see who she still is underneath. I joined him at the window, side by side, close enough to feel his heat. She reminds me of myself, I admitted. After my parents died, everyone looked at me like I was damaged. Like grief was something shameful. But my grandmother, she just let me be sad. Let me heal at my own pace. No expectations. No timelines. You're good for her, he turned. We were inches apart now. Good for both of us. Dante. I defended you tonight. Not an apology, a statement. I need you to know that wasn't strategy. It wasn't about appearances. It was personal. His jaw tightened. Dangerous. The word hung between us. Electric. Undeniable. I should go, I whispered. But neither of us moved. The explosion came at 2 a.m. Glass shattering. Alarms screaming. Gunfire rattling through walls like hail. I was out of bed before my brain processed movement, running on pure instinct toward Isabella's room. She stood in her doorway, rabbit clutched tight, eyes wide with terror. Come here. I scooped her up. She wrapped around me like a vine. We're okay. I've got you. More gunshots, closer now. Men shouting in Italian and English. Heavy boots pounding through hallways. I dragged Isabella into her room, locked the door, shoved her wardrobe against it. Then under the bed, the safest place, the darkest corner, pressing her deep into the shadows. Stay quiet, I whispered. Don't move, no matter what you hear. She nodded, tears streaming, still silent. I covered her with blankets, kissed her forehead. I'll be right here. Then I crouched beside the bed, grabbed the nearest weapon, a marble bookend, and waited. The sounds of war raged outside, men dying. Dante's voice cutting through chaos, commanding, controlled. He was alive, still fighting. Something slammed against the door. Once. Twice. The lock splintered. A man burst through ski mask, tactical gear, gun raised. Not Dante's. Enemy. He scanned the room. Saw me. Smiled. Well, the famous waitress. I threw the bookend. It caught him in the temple. He stumbled. I grabbed a lamp, swung hard, connected with his jaw. He went down, but 2 more appeared behind him. I backed toward the bed, toward Isabella, ready to die protecting her. Then Dante was there. A shadow becoming solid, moving like death itself. He took down both men before they could raise their weapons. Brutal, efficient, final. Silence, heavy, ringing. Dante stood over the bodies, chest heaving, covered in blood I desperately hoped wasn't his. His eyes found mine through the dark. Isabella? Under the bed, safe. He moved fast, knelt, reached under, pulled out his niece, who launched herself into his arms, sobbing silently against his neck. Then his eyes locked on me again. You're hurt. I looked down, blood on my arm, not sure if it was mine or theirs. I'm fine. You fought them. Not a question. Awe, maybe. Or disbelief. I had to. They were going to. He crossed the space between us in 2 strides, still holding Isabella. His free hand cupped my face, gentle despite the violence coating his fingers. You kept her safe. His voice cracked. You kept me alive again. I didn't. You did. His thumb brushed my cheekbone. Elena, you. More footsteps. Leo appearing in the doorway. Boss, we need to move. Now. They breached the east wing. More coming. Dante's mask snapped back into place. Command. Control. Take them to the safe room. No one gets through. Understood? Yes, sir. But before Leo pulled me away, Dante caught my wrist, squeezed once, a promise I didn't understand yet. Don't leave this house. I'm not done with you. The safe room was exactly what it sounded like, reinforced steel, no windows, supplies for a siege. Isabella finally fell asleep on a cot in the corner, exhausted beyond fear. I sat on the floor, back against cold wall, still shaking. It was dawn when Dante came. The heavy door opened. He stepped through alone, locking it behind him, still covered in blood and gunpowder and violence, but alive, whole. "It's over," he said. "They're gone." "How many?" "Enough." He moved to the medical kit mounted on the wall. "Your arm, it's just a scratch." "Let me see." "Not a request." I stood. Let him guide me to the table. He cut away my torn sleeve, revealing a gash from broken glass, deeper than I'd thought. His jaw tightened. "This needs stitches." "I'm fine." "Stop saying that." He grabbed antiseptic. "You're not fine. You almost died tonight. Again. Because of me. I stayed because of Isabella. You stayed because I trapped you here." He started cleaning the wound, his hand surprisingly gentle. "Every day you're in this house, you're in danger. Every person who wants to hurt me will try to use you. And tonight proved I can't always protect you. You did protect me. Barely." He threaded a needle. "This is going to hurt." It did. I bit my lip hard enough to taste blood, but I didn't make a sound. "You're tougher than you look," he murmured, focused on the stitches. Precise. Practiced. "You've done this before. Too many times." His thumb brushed the skin near the wound. "Unnecessary. Gentle." "Elena." He stopped, looked up, met my eyes. The air between us crackled. "You what?" I whispered. His hand moved to my jaw. "Cupping. Testing. I should send you away. Put you somewhere safe, far from me, from this life. But I'm selfish." His other hand found my waist. "And I don't want to. Dante. Tell me you want to leave." His forehead pressed against mine. "Tell me you hate me for dragging you into this nightmare. Tell me I'm a monster who destroys everything he touches." "I can't." "Why not?" "Because somewhere between gunfire and pasta, and Isabella's laughter, I'd stopped seeing him as the devil in expensive suits. Started seeing the man underneath lonely, damaged, trying desperately to keep the last person he loved safe." "Because you're not a monster," I breathed. "You're just scared." Something broke in his eyes. He kissed me. Not gentle, not tentative. Desperate like I was oxygen and he'd been drowning for years. I kissed him back, hands fisting in his bloody shirt, pulling him closer, wrong and right and inevitable all at once. When we finally broke apart, breathless, his thumb traced my lower lip. "This can't happen," he whispered. "I know. Everyone I've ever loved ends up dead. I know. Elena," my name like a prayer, like a warning. "I know," I repeated. "Kiss me anyway." So he did. I found the photograph by accident. 3 days after the kiss we never talked about. 3 days of Dante avoiding me, his eyes following me through rooms but his body keeping careful distance. I was looking for a book in his study. He'd told me I could use his library. The leather-bound volume I wanted sat on the top shelf. I climbed on his desk chair to reach it. That's when I saw the frame, face down, hidden behind other books, like someone couldn't bear to look but couldn't throw away. I shouldn't have touched it, but my fingers were already moving. The woman in the photo was beautiful. Dark hair, warm eyes, wedding dress. Dante beside her, younger, smiling in a way I'd never seen, open, unguarded, happy. "That's Serena." I nearly fell off the chair. Dante stood in the doorway, expression unreadable. "I'm sorry. I wasn't snooping. She was my wife." He moved into the room, not angry, just tired. "We were married for 3 years. She died 7 years ago." I climbed down slowly, set the frame on the desk between us. "What happened?" "My consigliere at the time, man I trusted like a brother, wanted my territory, my connections, my life." He picked up the photo, stared at it. He couldn't kill me directly, too risky, so he went after her instead. Poison. Made it look like a heart defect no one knew she had. God, Dante. I found out months later. Security footage from the restaurant where it happened. Saw him slip something into her drink while I was on the phone. His voice went flat. Dead. By the time I knew, he'd fled to Chicago. Took me 2 years to find him. When I did, he stopped. Set down the photo. "You killed him." Slowly. No remorse. And I swore I'd never let anyone close enough to hurt me like that again. Never trust. Never love. Never give anyone the leverage that kind of attachment creates. He looked at me then, really looked. "Until you." My breath caught. "Elena, when I saw those men in Isabella's room when I thought they might hurt you." He moved closer. I felt it again. That terror, that helplessness. The same feeling I had when I realized I'd lost Serena. "Dante, I'm not. You're different. I know. You're not her. But you're." He cupped my face. Desperate. You're making me feel things I swore I'd never feel again, and it's going to get you killed. Or it might keep us both alive. I covered his hand with mine. You said I see Isabella for who she really is. Maybe I see you too. Not the mafia boss, not the monster. Just Dante. The man who reads bedtime stories when he thinks no one's watching. Who makes pasta on Sundays because his sister used to. Who's so terrified of losing people that he pushes them away before they can leave. That's not strength. That's cowardice. That's human. I stepped closer. Let me in. Really in. Trust me the way you trusted me that night when I said don't move. His forehead pressed against mine. What if I get you killed? What if you don't? He kissed me then. Soft. Reverent. Like I was something precious he'd forgotten how to hold. When he pulled back, he whispered against my lips. You're the most dangerous thing that's ever happened to me. Good. I breathed. Maybe you need a little danger in your life. He almost smiled. I think I've had enough danger for one lifetime. Then maybe you need me instead. Maybe I do. Marco burst into the dining room while we were having breakfast. Not unusual, he had keys, authority, the arrogance of blood relation, but something in his expression made my stomach drop. We have a problem. He threw a manila envelope onto the table. Photos spilled out like accusations. Me, walking through the gardens with Isabella, cooking in the kitchen, reading on the terrace. Surveillance photos, taken from outside the walls. Dante's fork clattered against his plate. When? Last 3 days. Delivered this morning with a note. Marco slid a card across the table. The Calabrians know about her. They're calling her your debolezza, your weakness. Dante picked up the card. His jaw turned to stone. What does it say? I tried to keep my voice steady. It says they're coming for you. Dante crushed the card in his fist. They think if they take you, I'll break. Make mistakes. Become vulnerable. Then send me away. No. Sharp. Final. Dante, be reasonable. I said no. He stood, paced. Fury radiating off him in waves. The moment you leave this property, you're exposed. At least here I control the security. The variables. Out there. He stopped. Faced me. Out there. You're dead within 48 hours. So I'm supposed to just hide? Live in fear? Become a prisoner permanently? I stood too. That's not living. That's just slower dying. Better slow than immediate. You don't get to make that choice for me. Yes, I do. He moved closer. Dangerous. Desperate. You became my responsibility the night you saved my life. I don't let go of my responsibilities. Ever. Marco cleared his throat. There might be another option. We both turned. Fake her death, Marco continued. Stage something convincing. Let the Calabrians think they won. Then move her somewhere untraceable. New identity. New life. Away from here. My voice came out hollow. Away from Isabella. From you. Dante's expression cracked. Just for a second. If it keeps you breathing. And if I refuse? Then you're a fool. Marco's tone held surprising gentleness. Elena, my brother doesn't show weakness. The fact that he's even considering this, that he's willing to lose you to protect you, that should tell you everything you need to know. I looked at Dante. Really looked. Saw the exhaustion. The fear he hid behind cold command. The way his hands trembled just slightly before he shoved them in his pockets. He was terrified. Of losing me. Of loving me. Of letting history repeat itself. I need time to think, I whispered. You have until tonight. Dante's voice went flat. Professional. The mask sliding back into place. After that, I'm making the decision for you. He walked out. Marco followed, but not before giving me a look I couldn't quite read. Warning? Sympathy? Something else? I sat back down at the table, surrounded by photos of myself living a life I never asked for. Wondered if freedom was worth dying for. Or if love was worth staying. I shouldn't have gone back to my apartment. But I needed something, anything from my old life. A reminder that I'd existed before Dante, before bullets and betrayal and breaking hearts. Leo drove me. Protested the entire way. Boss won't like this. Boss doesn't get to control everything I do. Yeah, he does. That's literally his job. We pulled up to my building. Same cracked sidewalk. Same broken streetlight. A lifetime ago, this was home. Now it looked like a set from someone else's movie. 10 minutes, Leo warned. In and out. My apartment smelled stale. Dust coated everything. Mail piled by the doorbills I'd never pay. Catalogs for a life I'd never live. I was packing a bag when I heard it. The creak of floorboards in the hallway. Leo was outside watching the street. This was inside. My heart stopped. The door opened slowly. A figure stepped through. Familiar. Wrong. Vincent? Vincent Caruso. Marco's friend. The one who'd insulted me at dinner weeks ago. He looked different now, harder, focused, dangerous. Elena, he smiled. It didn't reach his eyes. Surprised to see me? How did you get in? Please. I grew up in this neighborhood. Every lock, every fire escape, every way in and out. He closed the door behind him, locked it. We need to talk. I backed toward the window. About what? About the fact that you're in danger. Real danger. He moved closer, hands up, non-threatening. But I saw the bulge under his jacket. Gun. The Calabrians aren't the only ones who know about you. There are people inside Dante's organization who want you dead. Then I'll tell Dante. Dante can't protect you from everyone. He's stretched too thin, fighting too many wars. Vincent's voice dropped. Urgent. But I can help. Get you out. Set you up somewhere safe. Far from here. Far from him. Why would you help me? Because I have a sister your age. And I know what it's like to watch someone get swallowed by this life. He pulled out a card. Set it on the table. That's a number. Untraceable. You call it, I'll have you out of New York in 2 hours. New identity. New start. Everything. I stared at the card. And what do you want in return? Nothing. Too quick. Just, maybe you tell me Dante's schedule for the next few days. Where he'll be. Who he's meeting. Just so I can make sure the extraction is clean. My blood turned to ice. You want me to give you his schedule? I looked up. Met his eyes. So you can what? Ambush him? Kill him? Vincent's expression shifted. Hardened. Smart girl. His hand moved to his jacket. I grabbed the lamp. Threw it. Glass exploded against his shoulder. I bolted for the window. Fire escape. Freedom. Anything. The door burst open. Leo. Gun raised. Get down. I hit the floor. Gunshots. Ringing silence. When I looked up, Vincent was gone. Blood trail leading to the window. Leo on the phone, barking orders. And me, shaking, realizing I'd just survived my 3rd assassination attempt in a month. Dante was going to kill me. Dante didn't kill me. He barely spoke to me. We rode back to the mansion in silence so thick I could taste it. Leo drove. I sat in back with Dante, watching him stare out the window, jaw clenched, fury radiating off him in waves. When we arrived, he finally turned. My office, now. I followed, terrified, angry, confused. He poured himself scotch, drank it in one swallow, poured another, didn't offer me any. Vincent Caruso, he said finally. You know him? From the dinner, he insulted me. You defended. Before that. I blinked. No. Why would I? He grew up 3 blocks from your grandmother. Went to the same church. His sister was in your confirmation class. Dante turned. Eyes cold. Calculating. You really expect me to believe you don't know him? I didn't recognize. He knew exactly where you lived. Got past my security. Walked into your apartment like he owned the place. Dante moved closer. Predatory. Either you're incredibly unlucky, or incredibly good at playing innocent. You think I'm working with him? My voice cracked. After everything, I think everyone I've ever trusted has betrayed me eventually. Why should you be different? The words hit like bullets. Because I'm not them. I stood my ground. I saved your life. Twice. I protected Isabella. I've done nothing but exactly what someone would do to earn my trust before destroying me. He set down the glass. My wife did the same thing. Serena. She was perfect. Loving. Loyal. Until the day she wasn't. Serena was poisoned by your consigliere. Was she? His laugh came out bitter. Or did I believe that story because it was easier than accepting she chose to betray me? Dante, you're not making sense. A knock interrupted. Marco stepped in without waiting for permission. We found something. He handed Dante a tablet. Security footage from the restaurant. The night of the first attempt. Dante watched. His expression didn't change, but something in him went rigid. What? I moved closer. What is it? He turned the screen. Showed me footage of the restaurant. Time-stamped 20 minutes before the shooting. There in the back corridor, Marco and Vincent. Talking. Vincent handing Marco something. Money? Documents? My stomach dropped. Marco is with them. Dante's voice went dead. Has been the whole time. Marco didn't deny it. Just smiled. Took you long enough. How long? Dante's hand moved to his waist, to his gun. Since the beginning. Since Serena. Marco's smile widened. Did you really think Antonio acted alone? That he just randomly decided to kill your wife? You. Dante's face drained of color. You ordered the hit on Serena? I gave Antonio the poison, told him how to use it, how to make it look natural. Marco shrugged. You were supposed to fall apart, become weak, easy to overthrow. Instead, you got colder, harder, more paranoid. So you tried again. My voice came out steady, stronger than I felt. Used Angelo. Used me. Elena was perfect bait. A nobody who'd get close to you. Make you feel again. Lower your guard. Marco looked at Dante. And it worked. You fell for her. Just like I knew you would. Dante drew his gun. Get out. Or what, you'll kill your own brother? Yes. The word hung in the air. Final. True. Marco's smile faltered. You won't. The gunshot answered for him. Marco stumbled. Blood bloomed across his shoulder. Not fatal. Not yet. You shot me. He sounded genuinely surprised. You actually… Next one's through your heart. Dante's hand didn't shake. Start talking. All of it. Now. There's nothing to Chris state. Footsteps. Running. Coming from multiple directions. My instincts screamed before my brain caught up. Dante. The door exploded inward. Men in tactical gear. Not Dante's. Marco's. I didn't think. Just moved. Stay quiet and don't move. The same words. The same instinct. I grabbed Dante's arm, yanked hard, pulled him down behind the desk as gunfire erupted overhead. Wood splintered. Glass shattered. The room became a war zone. Dante returned fire. Efficient. Deadly. Bodies dropped. But more kept coming. How many? He shouted over the noise. Too many. I spotted movement through the smoke. Side entrance. Dante. Behind you. He spun. Fired. Another man down. Then silence. Brief. Deceptive. Reload. He ejected his clip. Reached for another. Elena, when I say run, you… I'm not leaving you. That wasn't a request. More footsteps. Closer. The window this time. I saw the gun before he did. Saw the angle. Saw the shot that would end everything. I threw myself forward. Tackled Dante to the ground. The bullet passed where his head had been a second ago, embedding in the wall behind us. We hit the floor hard, his body covering mine, protecting me even as I'd just saved him. You're insane, he breathed against my hair. Someone has to be. Then Leo was there. Reinforcements. The tide turned. Marco's men fell, fled, died. When the shooting stopped, the office looked like a battlefield. Bodies, blood, smoke. Dante stood slowly, pulled me up with him. His eyes searched my face. You saved me again. I'll always save you. The words came out before I could stop them. That's what love is. He froze. What? I love you. Louder now. Sure. I love you, Dante Moretti. Your darkness, your violence, your broken pieces. All of it. And I will keep saving you until you finally understand that you deserve to be saved. Something in him shattered. He pulled me close, kissed me like I was oxygen and earth and every prayer he'd forgotten how to say. When we broke apart, he pressed his forehead to mine. I don't deserve you. I know. You should run. Far from me, far from this. I know, Elena. But I'm staying anyway. I cupped his face. Because someone has to save you before you destroy yourself. You already have. His voice cracked. You've been saving me since the night we met. A groan from across the room. Marco. Still alive. Barely. Dante's expression went cold. He released me, walked to his brother, crouched beside him. Any last words? Marco coughed blood. Smiled. This isn't over. Vincent has others. They're everywhere. In your organization, your home. Your… Enough. Dante stood. Aimed. You killed Serena. You tried to kill me. You used an innocent woman as bait. His finger tightened on the trigger. You were my brother. And you destroyed everything. You'll never be free of this. Marco's eyes found mine. Neither will she. They'll keep coming. Until you're both dead. Then I'll kill them all. The shot rang out. Final. Absolute. Marco's eyes went empty. And Dante stood there, gun hanging loose, staring at his brother's body like he was trying to understand how love turned to this. I took the gun from his hand, set it aside, pulled him into my arms. He didn't cry, just stood there, rigid, broken, holding on to me like I was the only thing keeping him tethered to earth. I've got you, I whispered. I've got you. We buried Marco at dawn. Private ceremony, no grand funeral. Just Dante, Leo, a priest who asked no questions, and me. Isabella stayed at the house, too young, too fragile. She didn't need more death haunting her dreams. Dante didn't speak during the service, didn't cry, just stood there in his black suit, staring at the grave like he was calculating every mistake that led to this moment. When it was over, he walked away. Didn't wait for me, didn't acknowledge anyone. I found him an hour later in the mansion's chapel, a small room I'd never entered before. Candles flickered. Stained glass cast colored shadows across stone floors. He sat in the front pew, hands clasped, head bowed, not praying, just empty. I slid in beside him, silent. Minutes passed, maybe hours. Time felt irrelevant. Finally, he spoke. He was 8 when our father died. I was 17. His voice came out hollow. I promised I'd protect him, keep him safe, make sure he never had to become what I became. You tried. I failed. He looked at me, eyes red-rimmed but dry. He was my responsibility, my blood, and I couldn't save him from himself. Some people don't want to be saved, Dante. Then what's the point? His voice broke. If I can't protect the people I love, what's the point of any of this? The power? The control? All of it? I took his hand, laced our fingers together. The point is you keep trying, you keep fighting, you keep loving even when it destroys you. Loving people gets them killed. Not loving them kills you. I turned to face him fully. Dante, you've been dying inside for 7 years, since Serena, since you stopped letting yourself feel anything. You think that's strength? It's just slow suicide. If I let myself feel, if I let myself love you the way I want to. He stopped, swallowed hard. You'll end up like her, like Marco, like everyone else. Or maybe I'll live, maybe we both will. I moved closer. You asked me why I risk my life for you. You want the real answer? He nodded. Barely. Because someone has to save you before you destroy yourself. Because underneath all this violence and control, you're just a man who's terrified of losing people. And I see you, Dante. The real you. The one who reads bedtime stories and makes pasta and holds his niece like she's made of glass. My voice cracked. And that man, that beautiful, broken, impossible man, deserves to be loved, deserves to be saved, even if he doesn't believe it. A tear slid down his cheek. Just one. But it was everything. He kissed me, desperate, raw, like I was the last good thing in a world gone dark. His hands tangled in my hair, pulling me closer, deeper, like he could crawl inside my soul and hide there. When we broke apart, he pressed his forehead to mine. I love you. The words came out broken. God help me. I love you. I know. If anything happens to you, it won't. Elena, it won't. I kissed him again, softer, because we're smarter than they are, stronger than they expect, and we're not alone anymore. He held me like that for a long time. 2 broken people holding each other together, promising impossible things in the dark. The files arrived 3 days later. Leo brought them to Dante's office where we'd been planning our next move. Thick manila folders, evidence, confessions from captured men. You're not gonna like this, Leo warned. Dante opened the first folder. I watched his face drain of color. What is it? He slid a photo across the desk. Security footage. Time-stamped 7 years ago. Marco and Antonio Giuliana's husband meeting in a parking garage. Money changing hands. Marco hired Antonio to kill Serena. Dante's voice came out dead. My brother ordered the hit on my wife. More photos. More evidence. Bank records showing payments. Emails discussing timing. Messages about making it look natural. Why? I whispered. Power, Leo answered when Dante couldn't. Marco wanted to lead the family, but with Dante around, that was impossible. So he tried to break him, make him weak, unfocused. But it backfired, Dante continued, finding his voice. I didn't fall apart. I became colder, harder to manipulate. So he waited, planned, brought in the Sicilians, the Calabrians, anyone who'd help him overthrow me. Another folder, this one with my name on it. My stomach dropped. Dante, open it. I did, found photos of myself, my grandmother, my apartment, background checks, financial records, everything. Marco researched you for months. Leo explained. Found the connection to Angelo Caruso. Set up the hit at the restaurant specifically because you worked there. Made sure you'd be serving that night. I was bait. The realization hit like ice water. From the beginning, he wanted me to save you. Wanted you to trust me, get close to me, so he could use me to destroy you. Except you weren't bait. Dante stood, moved around the desk, cupped my face. You were supposed to die that night too. Angelo was told to kill you after I was dead, make it look like collateral damage. But I fought back. You survived. And that changed everything. His thumb brushed my cheekbone. Marco didn't count on you being smart. Strong. Real. He thought you'd picked me, planted me. I understood now. That's why Vincent came to my apartment, why everyone suspected me. Marco was spreading rumors, making everyone doubt. Including me. Dante's voice cracked. I almost believed it. Almost pushed you away because I was so convinced everyone betrays me eventually. But you didn't. Because my heart knew what my head refused to accept. He kissed my forehead. You're not like them, you never were. Leo cleared his throat. Boss, there's more. Vincent's still out there. And according to these files, he's got 4 more men inside our organization. We don't know who yet. Dante's expression hardened. Then we find them, all of them, and we end this. And Elena? Leo's eyes found mine. Vincent knows she's your weakness. He'll come for her. Let him try. Dante's arm wrapped around my waist. Protective, possessive. Anyone who touches her dies screaming. You're sending me away. Not a question. I'd seen it in his eyes all morning. The distance, the careful avoidance. The way he watched me like he was memorizing every detail. We stood in his office. Sunset bleeding through windows, making everything look like endings. It's not safe. It's never been safe. I moved closer. That's not what this is about. Then what is it about? You're scared. I stopped in front of him, met his eyes. You love me, really love me, and it terrifies you. So you're doing what you always do, pushing away before the pain can reach you. His jaw tightened. If you stay, Vincent will kill you. His men are everywhere. In my organization, in this house. I can't protect you and hunt them at the same time. So let me help. No, sharp, final. I won't watch you die, Elena. I can't. Not again, not you. Then what, I just disappear? Start over? Pretend none of this happened? Yes. He pulled an envelope from his desk. Set it between us. New identity, bank account. Everything you need. Leo will drive you to a safe house upstate. From there, you'll be relocated. Somewhere Vincent can't find you. Somewhere. Without you. Silence. Heavy. Suffocating. It's the only way you survive. And what about Isabella? My voice cracked. You're just going to tell her I left? That I abandoned her like everyone else? Pain flickered across his face. I'll tell her you're safe. That you had to go. That you sent me away because you're too broken to believe love can last. I grabbed the envelope. Threw it across the room. I won't do this. I won't let you destroy us because you're afraid. I'm not afraid. You're terrified. I was shouting now. You're so convinced everyone leaves that you leave first. You're so sure love ends in death that you kill it yourself before it has a chance. Because it does end, he shouted back. Raw. Desperate. Everyone I've ever loved is dead or gone. My parents. Juliana. Serena. Marco betrayed me. My own brother tried to kill me. What makes you think you're any different? Because I keep choosing you. Tears streamed down my face. Every day, every threat, every bullet. I keep choosing you, Dante. Even when you make it impossible. Even when you push me away. I choose you. He closed his eyes, breathed hard. When he opened them again, they were filled with everything he couldn't say. I'm sorry. He picked up something from his desk. A locket. Silver. Delicate. This was Juliana's. She wanted Isabella to have it when she was older. He opened it. Inside a photo of Isabella as a baby, and a tiny inscription, Famiglia è tutto. Family is everything. He placed it in my palm, closed my fingers around it. You're family now. His voice broke. You'll always be family. Even if... He stopped, couldn't finish. Dante, please. The car's waiting. He stepped back, creating distance. Leo will take care of you. I've made sure you'll have everything you need. Except you. Especially me. He turned away. Couldn't look at me. Goodbye, Elena. This isn't over. I clutched the locket. You hear me? This isn't over. I will survive. And when I do, when you've killed every threat and eliminated every enemy, I'm coming back. And you're going to let me in. Really let me in. No more walls. No more fear. He didn't respond. Just stood there, shoulders rigid, staring out the window. I walked to the door. Stopped. One last look. I love you, Dante Moretti. And that's not going to change. Not distance. Not time. Not even your stubbornness. Still nothing. I left. Each step agony. Leo waited in the hallway, expression sympathetic. He's doing this because he loves you, he said quietly. I know. I wiped my tears. That's what makes it hurt so much. The car ride was silent. I watched the mansion disappear in the rearview mirror. Watched my life, my real life, fade into the distance. The locket felt heavy in my hand. A promise. A tether. Famiglia è tutto. I'd become family. And family doesn't give up. Even when it would be easier. Even when it breaks your heart. I'd survive. And I'd come back. Because someone still needed to save him. And I wasn't done fighting yet. The cafe wasn't supposed to be mine. But 7 months ago, when Leo delivered the deed and the bank account in an unmarked envelope, I couldn't refuse. Couldn't go back to being invisible. So I built something. Something alive. Morning glory small, sunlit, filled with the smell of espresso and cinnamon rolls that reminded me of Nonna Rosa's kitchen. I served coffee to strangers who didn't know my name or my past. Smiled when they smiled. Moved through days like I was performing a role I'd written for myself. Safe. Ordinary, dead inside. The apartment above the cafe was modest. 1 bedroom, kitchen barely big enough for 2 people. A fire escape overlooking a quiet street where nothing violent ever happened. At night, I lay in bed and counted reasons to be grateful. Safety, freedom, no one hunting me, no one dying for me. But I couldn't stop thinking about Isabella's laugh. Or the way Dante's hands trembled when he thought no one was watching. Or how it felt to be chosen, really chosen, even if it meant being pushed away. The news came on a Tuesday morning. I was wiping down the espresso machine when the customer at table 3 switched the channel. News broadcast, footage of a mansion I'd memorized every hallway of. Police cars, yellow tape. Reporters speaking in urgent whispers. Dante Moretti, alleged organized crime leader, was found dead this morning in an apparent gang-related execution. Sources say the Calabrians retaliated following a major supply line disruption. Moretti's family is reportedly in protective custody. No official statement has been. My hands stopped moving. The world became very quiet. The barista, a girl named Sophie, was staring at me. "You okay? You look like you're about to pass out." I couldn't breathe, couldn't form words. Dead. He was dead. They'd killed him, just like they killed Serena, just like they always do. I stumbled to the bathroom, locked the door, pressed my back against cold tile and let myself really break for the first time since I'd left the mansion. Dante was gone. And he'd died thinking I'd moved on, thinking I'd forgotten, thinking we were really finished. The locket hung against my heart. Famiglia è tutto. Family is everything. But I'd let him die alone. That thought was worse than the loss. The envelope arrived 3 days later. No postage, no return address, just my name written in handwriting. I recognized, precise, controlled, undeniably his. My hands shook as I opened it. A single line, written on expensive paper. "You saved me twice, now live for both of us." That was all. I turned the envelope over. Found a key inside. Old-fashioned, brass, with an address engraved on the tag. 847 Brookside Avenue. Downtown. A neighborhood I didn't recognize. I called Leo. He didn't answer. Called again. Same result. I was on my own. The address led to a converted warehouse, exposed brick, large windows, a sign above the door in fresh paint, Juliana's clinic. My heart stopped. Inside, I found it all. State-of-the-art medical equipment, therapy rooms, a children's wing covered in murals of stars and rabbits, and a plaque by the entrance, engraved with 2 names. Juliana Moretti and Isabella De Luca Memorial Clinic, dedicated to healing the invisible wounds. Below that, handwritten in what I recognized as Dante's script. For Elena, who teaches broken people they're worth saving. Use it well, D. I collapsed into the nearest chair. Couldn't move, couldn't think, couldn't do anything but hold the key in my fist and cry. He'd bought this. Set this up. Left instructions, I found them in an office drawer, pages and pages of details. Licensing, funding, staff recommendations, everything I'd need to run it. There was a note attached. "I know you won't save me. You're too stubborn, too good. So I'm giving you something else to save instead. The people no one else will touch. The ones who survived violence like you did. Run this place, heal them. Do what you do best, show them they're not invisible. I won't ask you to wait, won't ask you to hope, but if you ever need me, the bottom drawer has what you need." My hands shook as I opened it. A phone, untraceable, a single contact saved, home, and a letter, sealed. My name on the envelope in his careful script. I couldn't open it yet, not when I still believed he might be dead, not when I was still breaking inside. So I just held it, held all of it, and let myself grieve. He came exactly 1 week later. I was closing the clinic, my clinic now, though I still couldn't quite believe it when I felt him. That electricity, that presence. The same way I'd known a gun was pointed at Dante in a crowded restaurant. I turned. He stood in the doorway, backlit by the streetlight outside. Older, scarred, but alive. So undeniably, impossibly alive. "Hi, Elena." His voice. God, his voice, like coming home. "You're alive." The words came out broken. "The news said they said you were dead." "I was supposed to be." He stepped inside, closed the door behind him, locked it. That was the plan. Spread a rumor, let the Calabrians think they'd won, disappear for long enough that the threat stops looking. "You've been here the whole time." Watching from a distance. He moved closer, painfully slow, like I was something he might startle. "Wanted to make sure you were safe before I could. He stopped. Couldn't find the words. "How long were you watching?" "Since the beginning." His expression cracked. "I shouldn't have let you go, Elena. I was wrong. Every day you were gone, I knew I was wrong. But I wasn't sure you'd forgiven me yet." I was angry. I met him halfway across the room. I was furious. "I hated you for sending me away, but I never stopped." My voice broke. "I never stopped loving you." His hands found my face, gentle, reverent, like he was still terrified I might disappear. "The clinic." "I know. Thank you. It's perfect. It's everything." I pulled him closer. "But I don't want gratitude gifts, Dante. I want you. All of you. Not from a distance. Not watching from shadows. I want you here. It's not safe. I don't care." I kissed him then. Urgent, desperate, trying to pour everything, all the missing months, all the pain, all the love into a single moment. "I'm done being safe. I'm done running. I'm done pretending I don't need you." He held me like I might dissolve, buried his face in my hair. "I'm sorry. For everything. For Marco. For pushing you away. For being so broken. For being human." I finished. "You're forgiven. But only if you stop running. Only if you stay." "And if they come back? If the Calabrians?" "Then we face them together." I pulled back just enough to see his face. "You taught me that. Night 1. Stay quiet and don't move. We survived it then. We'll survive it again." He smiled. Small, fragile, real. "Famiglia è tutto," he whispered. "Everything," I agreed. We stayed like that until dawn broke through the clinic windows, 2 broken people finally learning how to be whole. He had to leave before morning. Not forever, just long enough. He explained it carefully, tracing patterns on my skin in the darkness of my apartment above the cafe. There were still loose ends, still people who needed to believe he was dead, still wars being fought in shadows I couldn't see. 6 months, he said. Maybe less. Once the threat is neutralized, once everyone stops looking, I can come back. Permanently. And if something goes wrong? His fingers stilled against my shoulder. Then Leo will take care of you. And Isabella. She's in protective custody with my aunt in Boston. Safe. Asking about you constantly. Tell her I'm coming to see her soon. Tell her yourself." He sat up, pulled me with him. "Take the clinic's corporate card. Go to Boston for a week. She needs to know you didn't disappear. That you didn't abandon her like—" He stopped. Couldn't say his wife's name without pain cracking through his voice. I cupped his face. "Serena would be proud of you. Of this. Of choosing to live instead of just survive. She'd be proud of you," he corrected. "For staying. For fighting. For loving me even when I didn't deserve it." The news broke 3 days after he left. Another execution. Another gang retaliation. Another body count rising in the streets of New York. But this time, the target was Vincent Caruso. Found in an abandoned warehouse with bullet wounds that looked almost ceremonial. A message written in blood on the wall. "Family takes care of its own." I didn't ask how. Didn't ask if Dante was responsible. Just held the knowledge close and tried not to think about what it meant for his soul. I ran the clinic. Built it into something real. Started treating trauma victims, people too damaged or afraid to seek help through normal channels. Found purpose in healing what I understood: survival, resilience, the weight of staying alive when everyone expects you to break. Isabella came to stay for 2 weeks in October. She was taller, still quiet, but her eyes held less darkness. She helped me paint a mural in the children's section, a garden filled with rabbits and stars. We didn't speak much, just worked together, creating something beautiful from blank walls. On her last morning, she hugged me tight, then whispered, barely audible, "Is he coming back?" My throat tightened. "Yes, soon." She nodded, satisfied, like she'd always known. Like she had the same instinct I did that some people, once they belong to you, can never really disappear. "Good," she said quietly. "We need him." "I know, but I need you more." I held her, tried not to cry, This child who'd survived hell and still knew how to love, still knew that loyalty mattered more than safety. Dante raised her better than he believed. Winter came early. The clinic was packed with new patients, trauma survivors, domestic violence victims, children who'd witnessed things no human should see. I worked 18-hour days, poured everything into giving them what I'd been given, proof that survival was possible. That love came back around. That broken things could heal if you were patient enough. The envelope arrived in November. No return address, just my name. Inside, plane tickets to a charity gala in Manhattan. An invitation to an event I recognized, one Dante had attended years ago, before violence and betrayal rewrote the story. And a note. I'm not ready for everyone to know I'm alive, but I want one night with you. Real, public, no running, no hiding. December 15th, the Plaza. Wear something that makes you feel alive. D. I almost didn't go. Fear held me back. Fear that it would be too much, too public, too real. Fear that seeing him would crack the careful walls I'd built. Fear that one night wouldn't be enough, and having to leave again would destroy me. But Leo appeared at the clinic that December morning, with a dress box and a knowing smile. He wanted you to have options, Leo said. Choose the one that feels like you. Inside, 3 gowns, each one perfect, each one a different version of who I could be. I chose the red one. Dangerous, alive, unapologetic. The ballroom at the Plaza was everything I remembered: crystal chandeliers, live orchestra, the smell of expensive perfume and old money, but I barely registered it. I only saw him. He stood across the room, dressed in a black tuxedo that looked like armor, scanning the crowd with eyes that suddenly miraculously found me. His expression cracked, real, unguarded. He moved through the crowd like water, unstoppable, reaching me in seconds that felt like years. You came. His hand found my waist, steady, possessive, unapologetic. I almost didn't. But you did. He pulled me close, started moving with the orchestra, even though we weren't on the dance floor, even though people were watching. You always come back. Someone has to save you. I rested my head against his chest. I could hear his heartbeat. Fast, alive, proof. Someone has to show you that love doesn't have to end in death. I know that now. His lips pressed against my hair. Because of you. We danced like we were alone. Like the gala didn't exist. Like our story was just the two of us, suspended in this moment, finally whole. The threat is neutralized, he murmured. Vincent's gone. His men dispersed or dead. The Calabrians pulled back. They realized coming after you wasn't worth the price. And you? I'm alive, really alive, not hiding anymore, ready to. He pulled back just enough to see my face. Ready to do something I probably don't deserve. He dropped to one knee. The music stopped. The crowd froze. Everyone watching. He pulled out a ring, simple, elegant, undeniably right, and looked up at me with eyes that had finally learned how to hope. Elena Rossi, you saved my life. Twice, maybe more. You taught me that broken people can heal, that love is worth the risk, that I deserve to be saved. His voice cracked. Marry me. Not because I'm powerful or dangerous, but because I'm yours, and you're everything I never thought I'd have. I couldn't breathe, couldn't speak, could only nod as tears streamed down my face. He slid the ring on my finger, stood, kissed me like he was rewriting our ending, not tragic, not violent, just love. Real, messy, imperfect love. The crowd erupted. Applause, cheers. But I barely heard it. I was lost in his eyes, in the feeling of finally, truly home. Later that night, in the penthouse suite overlooking Manhattan, he held me against his chest while city lights painted the darkness gold. Thank you, he whispered. For what? For staying. For fighting, for loving me when I was impossible to love. I tilted my head up, met his eyes, saw the man he'd always been underneath the darkness, not a monster, but a human terrified of losing everything that mattered. Familia è tutta, I whispered. Everything, he agreed. And then, finally, we stopped running. Finally, we started living. 1 year later, the clinic had expanded to 3 locations. The foundation bearing Juliana's name was helping hundreds of survivors rebuild their lives. Isabella had started speaking again slowly, carefully, but the words came. Love does that. And I was married to a man the world thought was dead. We lived quietly, carefully. He consulted on security details for legitimate businesses. I ran the clinic. We had dinner with Isabella every Sunday. We built a life that didn't require violence or survival instincts. Just 2 people, broken in different ways, learning how to be whole together. One evening, closing the clinic late, I heard the familiar voice behind me. Stay quiet and don't move. I turned, tears spilling, and found him in the doorway. Same dangerous smile. Same impossible presence. But different now. Softer. Home. Hi, amore, he said quietly. I came to take you home. I moved into his arms. Into the life we'd earned. Into the love that survived bullets and betrayal and every reason to give up. I'm ready, I whispered. And we walked out together into the winter night, 2 survivors, 1 heartbeat, finally teaching each other that love wasn't something to fear. It was something to fight for.